What if Donald Trump's historic trip to China was never just about diplomacy? What if it was the start of a hidden war? Behind the banquets and the handshakes, a much darker game was being played, a battle for the future of the world order. It started with a number that haunted Washington, a trade deficit so massive it threatened to bankrupt the American dream. For decades, wealth had been flowing one way, across the Pacific. Trump saw this not just as a loss, but as a threat. He didn't just want a better deal. He wanted to break the system that allowed China to rise so fast, so far. And so the first shots were fired, not with missiles or soldiers, but with taxes, massive tariffs on Chinese goods. Billions of dollars in electronics, steel, and machinery were suddenly caught in the crossfire. The global supply chain began to buckle. The world watched in shock. Was this a masterstroke of negotiation, or a reckless gamble that would burn both houses down? But China wasn't just playing defense. They had a strategy, and it hit exactly where it hurt the most, the American heartland. They responded with surgical precision, targeting industries vital to Trump's political base. The battle lines were drawn. But wait until you hear this. China held a secret advantage that the West was desperately trying to ignore. China controlled 90% of the minerals needed for smartphones, electric cars, and advanced missile systems. They held the keys. The West was addicted to Chinese manufacturing, and Beijing knew that any trade war would eventually hit a wall of their own making. Behind the cameras, an even bigger battle was happening, the fight for intellectual property, the blueprints for the future. Washington accused Beijing of stealing the crown jewels of American tech. Beijing called it natural competition. The stakes, total supremacy. In November 2017, Trump arrived in Beijing. The red carpet was rolled out like never before. It was called a State Visit Plus. Was this a breakthrough in relations, or was it a masterful piece of theater designed to buy time while both sides prepared for war? While they toasted to friendship, their trade representatives were locked in rooms, arguing over every decimal point and tariff line. China was playing the long game. They practiced strategic patience, waiting for the political winds in Washington to shift. But for ordinary people, the impact was immediate. Prices rose, markets trembled, and jobs that were promised to return didn't. American farmers saw their markets vanish overnight as China retaliated. The deal of the century was looking like a disaster. In Silicon Valley, companies were cut off from their factories. Innovation slowed. The cost of the future was getting too high. Trump needed a victory, an image of strength to project to his voters. He portrayed himself as the only one brave enough to stand up to China. Every speech, every tweet was a weapon. But behind the rhetoric, was he actually winning or just creating a new, more dangerous world? The balance of power was shifting. This wasn't just about trade, it was about who would define the rules for the next century. Then came 2020. The game changed forever. The pandemic accelerated the divide, turning a trade war into a total decoupling. The world realized it was too dependent on one country. The trade war had exposed a vulnerability that no one was prepared for. The relationship between these two giants has been forever altered. The trust is gone. The rivalry is now permanent. So, was he trying to defeat China or simply negotiate from a position of power? Was it a master plan or a chaotic reaction? The answer may be more complicated than anyone expected. But one thing is certain, the world will never be the same. What do you think? Was the trade war worth it? Let us know in the comments below. And subscribe for more declassified truths.